This week I'm driving the new GMC Sierra 1500 equipped with the Duramax diesel.
She come out of break of night, the pink skies waving goodbye.
So this week, the brand new 1500 diesel. GM is the last one to join this market of half-ton truck. You already have the F-150 with the Power Stroke and the Ram with the co-diesel. But this is the latest technology in these type of engine. So we're going to talk a little bit more about this model today. All right, first of all, let's talk about the engine. This is the newest diesel Duramax from GM. This is an inline 3-liter turbo, good for 277 horsepower and 460 foot-pounds of torque. This engine is pretty good on torque and it's got the best in class horsepower with 277. This engine is really built for fuel economy, also emission wise and all that. This is the latest technology from GM. They're making sure this engine is built for the future to respect all the emission and also all the latest technology. It's a brand new engine built in the USA. It's not some engine, who's been taken from Europe from an older model and bring back here and apply to a half-ton truck. This is an engine built for this truck. Well, this engine is coupled to the new 10-speed transmission, the same 10-speed transmission you can find on the V8 6.2 liter, the truck behind me, my own truck. This one's an 84, but this one I've got this week, it's an elevation model. So let's talk about the elevation model. First of all, you can notice it's an elevation model. By the grille, you've got that gloss black grille, nice finish. Also, you can notice those tow hooks are black. Around the fog lights right here, it's black. Also, if we go on the side of the truck, you'll notice these 20 inches all in black wheels. This is part of the elevation model. If we go back in the front again, with the lights, those are LED lights. It's part of this package. You can notice it's an elevation model with the logo on the side right here saying elevation. You got also the black mirrors, and you can tell it's a Duramax turbo diesel with the logos on the side. That's pretty much the only way you can tell it's a diesel 1500. If we go in the back, this one, it's a 4x4 model again, with the short box. Let's talk about the suspension now. This one's got the standard suspension. If you want a little bit higher up suspension, you can opt for the optional X31 suspension package. It's an off-road package. It's going to lift the truck about an inch over the ground. But if you need more off-road capacity, you want your truck to be a little more lifted, you can opt for the 84, just like my own truck. My own truck's got the 84 package, so it lifts the truck 2 inches off the ground, and also comes with a bunch of options to get you more capable off-road wise, more aggressive tires, 33 inch. On my truck, you can see those are on 35. I wanted to have like bigger tire, more aggressive, more off-road capacity for my 84. So this one's a diesel, obviously. So something you can notice, there's 2 nozzles on these diesel. The green one is for the actual diesel. You can notice it's a little bit bigger than the gasoline one, and actually the nozzle at the station, at the gas station, it's a little bit bigger, so it can fit in that hole. And you get also your DEF liquid here in blue. This is part of the emission. It will kill the but part of the emission. It will spray inside of the exhaust. If you do a lot of mileage, you need to fill up. You can fill it up at any big gas station. If you go on the side of the highway, the trucker gas station usually always carry these kind of stuff. But if you just do some normal mileage, I could say your dealership will take care of it. If we step in the back in the box, You've got that great bumper from GM. You've got that step on the side. This one's got the regular tailgate, not the multi-pro tailgate. You can open it easily just like that. It comes down really slowly. You get that bed spray inside of the box, a really nice finish with the GMC logo in the back. Part of the elevation package also, you've got those lights to light up inside of your box. Really practical. Speaking of the multi-pro tailgate, it's one of the key feature of these new models for GMC in 2019, 2020. Let's go see the multi-pro tailgate on my truck. So this one on my truck, on my T4, it's got the multi-pro tailgate. You simply have to click 2 times, one here and here, and you deploy your step. This is one of the most rugged, toughest step on the market. It's really practical. It's easy to go in and out, especially when you're a big guy like me. All the other steps, they have a weight limit around 250 pounds. This one is way over 350 pounds, and it's large, it's practical. So you can go in and out easily while carrying stuff with you. You get a little bar inside of the box to help you get in. It's super practical. At first when I bought my truck, I didn't think I will use this tailgate a lot, but actually I use it a lot. And there's multi-functions to this tailgate, and that's why it's called the multi-pro tailgate. So first of all, you got this step, really practical. Here you got some space. These can be replaced by additional lights or speakers. These are accessories you can add to your tailgate, so you can add some music to your tailgate party. But I'll show you a couple of things you can do with a tailgate. So first of all, the step, and when you put it in this way, you've got a deeper access inside of your box. That's one thing you can do with it. After that, you can use it as just like a desk or something to help you work with. You can also lift this part up, and you got a little bit more space if you have something you need to carry, some woods, and you want to have some kind of safety here. You can do the same thing when the tailgate is open. So when you open it like normally like that, you can use also this part right here to retain any large object longer than your box. So super practical. It's probably the best tailgate on the market. I use it all the time. At first when I saw the unveil of these trucks, I was like, this tailgate is kind of silly. I'm not gonna use it, but actually I own one and I use it all the time. Alright, behind the wheel of the half-ton GMC Sierra Duramax with the diesel engine. First of all, let's talk about fuel economy. It's the main purpose of this test this week. So far, amazing fuel economy. I was expecting something good, but not as good as this. We're in the winter. We've got winter tires, winter conditions, and this one's a 4x4, so it's not a two-wheel drive. If you guys look at all the videos on YouTube and all that, most of these guys try two-wheel drive models, but here we're in Canada, so we drive 4x4. So far, I'm averaging around 9 liters, always a little bit underneath 10 liters per 100 kilometers. Between city, country, highway use. On the highway, you can easily go down in the 8 liters per 100 kilometers. And probably you can do even better than that on a long distance, or maybe if you go a little bit easier on the pedal, you can be in the 7. I've seen some guys do underneath 7 liters per 100 kilometers. Listen guys, 7 liters per 100 kilometers in a half-ton truck. These kind of fuel economy you can find in a 4-door sedan. I've drove several cars this summer who had worse fuel economy than this, and they were not pickup trucks. They were literally cars, coupe, 4 doors, even hybrids, you know. But the great thing about diesel, and I want to stress this out, it's really, even if you're hard on the pedal, you know, you don't drive eco, you go a little bit over the speed limit, you do some harsh acceleration, you still got some good fuel economy. So far, even with my testing and all that, you know, some harsh acceleration, pulling and all that, I was not able to go over 12 liters per 100 kilometers. This is, you know, I never drove a half-ton truck who gets such a good fuel economy. Guys, you know, I'm really amazed by the fuel economy, and that's a big plus for the GM products. I've seen some numbers online, fuel economy wise, in this segment. The GM products is the best against the Ram and the Ford. And this is something I really want to stress out. This truck is really built for fuel economy. Guys, I can expect you to gonna tow and carry stuff with it. So maximum towing capacity, it's 9,300 pounds. And the maximum payload, it's 1,870 pounds. Not the best on this segment, and this is what I want to stress out. This truck is built for fuel economy, so you need to sacrifice a little bit on the towing, especially if you compare this truck to the Ram. The Ram's got better towing capacity. You know, on that side, you know, 9,300 pounds, yes, it's not the best, but from my point of view, you know, when you're stretching over 10,000 pounds, 11,000 pounds, you should probably consider a 3/4 ton. For me, I feel more confident with a 3/4 ton towing more than 10,000 pounds. Another question I got a lot this week during my test is the power of the truck. Is it fun to drive? Is it lacking on the power? Sometimes, you know, when you drive those diesel trucks, they're kind of boring, you know, they don't have a lot of horsepower. But this one is fun to drive, seriously, guys, because you get 460 foot-pounds of torque, and that torque, you get that torque at really low RPM. So if I compare this engine to my 6.2 liter V8 I've got in my Sierra 84, I've got maximum torque at lower RPM, and this is really fun, you know, when you do an acceleration, you know, you're passing someone, getting up in the highway. And on top of that, this truck's got the best in class horsepower with 277 horsepower. So plenty of power. It's not as quick as a V8 engine, but you know, driving this truck every day feels good. And if you're not like a really high performance, you like to push you know, your trucks to the limit and put the pedal to the metal like I do all the time, that's the main reason why I've got a 6.2 in my truck. You know, this truck is plenty of power for you guys. Another big plus for this new Duramax diesel engine, it's really the sound. There's no sound, it's super quiet. It's probably even quieter than a gasoline engine, and on the market it's by far the most quiet engine in the diesel segment by far. Obviously, the GMC cabin, it's always a big plus. These cabins are really, you know, soundproof. It's another big plus to don't really hear the engine. But just, you know, when you're outside next to the engine while it's running, if you lift the hood or just close it, you see a huge difference of the sound of the engine. And that's a big improvement for, you know, the diesel engine. And, you know, all the bad things people are used for the diesel, you know, the emissions, the sound, the smell, you know, the lack of power, everything is gone. And, you know, right now you all have the benefits of the diesel. You've got some great fuel economy, a lot of torque. It's super quiet. I barely hear the engine. You know, for me, it's a big plus. I know these days it's all about electric, hybrid plugins and all that. But for me, for putting my money on something, if I was doing a lot of mileage every day, diesel is still number one in my heart. You know, overall, the ride quality is really nice, super quiet again in the cabin. The power is great, the fuel economy is great. It's a great package, especially the elevation package. One of the down point I don't really like, it's those wood trim inside, and there's some equipment missing, but that's the point of the elevation. If you wish to have more equipment, you can choose a more equipped like the AT4 or the Denali, and you can get these engine in those higher trim level, just like my truck basically. So you know, if I would do more mileage every day, probably I would have to switch my 6.2 for a diesel. I would save a lot on fuel. My 6.2, it's great on fuel for the power it delivers, but still, these kind of numbers are really hard to beat on a everyday basis. One of the down points from my point of view, you know, about this packaging, the diesel and all that, compared to the competition, a big plus for Ram, they offered their diesel engine in really lower trim level, base trim level, to get access to that diesel at really a cheaper price. So that's a big plus for Ram. In the GM lineup, either in the Chevrolet or GMC lineup, you need to go in higher trim level to get access to that engine. But for someone who needs a work truck with the diesel engine, it's not really possible right now in the GM lineup. Another question I've got a lot, it's the fuel economy while towing. Unfortunately, this week I was not able to put my hands on a trailer or a camper, so I was not able to do some testing during this week. But you know, it's not the first time I drove those new Duramax Afton. I've drove other models in Oregon and Wisconsin, and also some of my friends did some tests with the Duramax. And you know, overall, with all the tests and the ones I drove earlier this summer, I could say, you know, with the Duramax while towing, maybe let's say around 8,000 pounds, you can expect probably around 5 liters per 100 kilometers better than a gasoline engine in the same type of model. So it's such those numbers are pretty great, you know. And so I mean, you know, probably while towing 7,000 to 8,000 pounds, depending on the condition, between 18 to 22 liters per 100 kilometers. These kind of numbers are way better than the gasoline ones. So, but overall, what I could say about these new Afton diesel, they're really amazing, and I think they're really a game changer. And what I was really glad, you know, a couple weeks ago, I went to Detroit to see the new Tahoe and new Suburban 2021, and they're gonna offer the same engine in these models. So guys, I think this is the best powertrain for a large SUV. For my point of view, when I do all my calculation in my head, I think it will be the best. It will beat the EcoBoost and all that. And I drove, you know, large SUVs on long distance, on long road trip. And I always thought, you know, for years and years, they should put a small diesel in these trucks. And finally, GM's gonna deliver that engine in the new Tahoe and Suburban. So this is a great news. And again, you know, I'm not saying they're gonna do it, but usually when they offer a powertrain in the Tahoe, they're gonna offer it also in the Yukon and the Escalade. So overall, is it worth it to upgrade your truck for a diesel? You know, from my point of view, yes. You know, on a daily basis, you know, you can drive normally and still got some fuel economy numbers, good fuel economy numbers. You know, you see all those guys with the gasoline engine, they're like, oh yeah, I can get this and get that, but still, it's really when you're really careful and you drive eco, when you drive normally, the numbers are not really there. And that's pretty much every cars. And the only cars I really get really good fuel economy numbers, it's really the diesel ones. So for me, it's a big plus, fuel economy wise. And maintenance wise, you know, this is not a big engine, it's a small engine. So oil change and all that, for me, it's not a big issue. Also putting the DEF fluid, you know, I'm used to work with diesel machinery, so for me, I'm used to it. So all these things doesn't really annoy me, but maybe for you, it will, and you need to learn about all these things when you never drove or own a diesel engine. And these things are all the little things you need to learn when you own a diesel truck. For me, it's not a down point because I'm used to it, but maybe for you, it will. You know, check your DEF fluid, and you know, the oil change might be a little bit more expensive and all that. But for me, all the benefits and the extra price of the diesel is worth it. From some of you guys, maybe it won't do a big difference. It all depends how you drive your truck and how you use your truck. So overall, you know, for me, I think, you know, buying wise, you know, for the price and what you get, and if you do a lot of mileage, the GMC with the diesel, it's probably on top of my list by far. And you know, once again, lately, you know, last year I drove pretty much all the powertrain in the Sierra and the Silverado. So the 4-cylinder turbo, the V8 5.3, the V8 6.2, and also the diesel. For me, from my point of view, this engine is the best buy of all the 4 engines. Even if I own a 6.2, let me know in the comments which engine is your favorite and why. But so far, you know, but if someone asks me which engine should I buy, my #1 pick would be the diesel.